So this was a 10-8 round for Johnny Depp. I don't think that's even in question. This was a solid knockdown. What a great job on this cross-examination. And then follow it up. Put the period at the end of the sentence with that redirect that Camille dominated so hard that Elaine quit on the stool and Amber Heard walked out of the auditorium. That's how you do a strong round in a trial. What a day, guys. I want to start by thanking all of my new subscribers. Welcome to you. I hope you stick around and enjoy what I do on my channel. I owe a deep debt of gratitude to Alita at Legal Bites and Nick at Rakita Law and everyone that is on their panels in LawTube. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me, and I hope I can return the favor. So you can't fully appreciate what Camille was able to accomplish today without really looking at the weaponry that she brought. If your facts are your fists in a cross-examination, Camille had some heavy hands today. Now, I will acknowledge we were kind of in the middle rounds. You know, we started off hot yesterday, came out of the corner ready to go, did some serious damage. But once Camille got the pace and the range set, got in her routine and saw how she was able to score on Amber, then today, I think when we started off, we saw a little more of that middle round work. She's working her points. She's sticking with what's effective and just testing things out a little bit before she really commits. So there's no way to talk about what Camille brought to this round without acknowledging, first and foremost, Plaintiff's Exhibit 397, that psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? The fuck is this audio that we are listening to? The thing that Camille remembered and used as her strategy that worked so well is that Amber Heard unmasked has always been her own worst witness. These audios and this 2016 deposition that show Amber behaving naturally, not in this way that she has crafted to try to sell to the jury. These show in a way that witnesses, photographs, the rest of these supporting pieces of evidence just can't lay bare the way that drawing back the curtain into this relationship accomplishes. And these audio recordings gave Camille the ability to do that. The audios lay bare the domestic violence dynamic in a way that no testimony can, no expert can capture. Dawn Hughes, she's a distant memory by now in this case, because having heard this audio, the taunting, the creepy laughing, the abuse, the insults, the hatred, it's evident on these audio recordings who the abuser is in this relationship. And it's not Johnny Depp, it's Amber Heard. So she deployed that very effectively at a good time after Amber had maybe gotten a little bit lulled. Explaining the love journal wasn't the most challenging part of her examination. The knife was certainly a good move. Camille set that one up and told that story very well. But full attention back at 110 as soon as that audio got queued up. Powerful. I mean, that is something that everybody is going to remember from today. The 2016 deposition, another just fantastic piece of ammunition that she pulled out of her stockpile. Get to see Amber before she's rehearsed, when she is first dealing with these contradictions, before she has had so much time and so much repetition to be able to sort it out, explain everything, defend every potential challenge, because we know that she will. She will concede nothing that she is not forced to concede. And even then, frankly, forcing her is probably not going to be an effective way to get her to concede it, as we'll talk about in a minute. So watching her sneer and smirk and roll her eyes and eat as she's being confronted with Johnny Depp recounting Amber Heard physically abusing him, and her reaction to that. That as well just reveals her for what she is behind what she is trying to present to this jury. Some other things that I liked that Camille did, I really liked that she specifically identified all 6 people that Johnny called who saw Amber after the May 21st incident and saw no injuries on her. It's a good technique to demonstrate that these are a lot of different people with a lot of different backgrounds. Some of them, sure, like Isaac, have an affinity for Johnny. But there's also people that don't want anything to do with this, like Alejandro Romero is so done with having to tell over and over again that he saw no goddamn bruise on Amber Heard's face. He has no incentive to do anything but to accurately report what he saw. And same with these police officers. There's just not a good way for Amber Heard to deal with all of these contradictions, all of these people who are willing to stand up and say, no, that's not reality. That's not what we saw. And you saying it over and over again doesn't make it so. It wasn't there. Didn't see it. You weren't wearing makeup. End of story. So drawing out that all of these different people and every single one of them, according to Amber Heard, is wrong. It's very effective at showing that what Dr. Curry predicted was exactly what we ended up seeing, that Amber Heard was never going to be able to admit fault, have any insight really into her own contribution to her life situation. Seeing her leave the courtroom, showing that disrespect to the jury. She knows by now, she knows you stand for the jury, you show their respect when they come into and out of that courtroom. So the deliberate snub to them, the fuck you to this courtroom that Amber Heard left with, I think that really highlights this characteristic that I'm talking about, that the jury really got to see crystal clear today. And it is that Amber simply will not be wrong under any circumstance. Now, what Camille did very effectively, very skillfully, because she didn't try to force it, was getting Amber to concede that the op-ed was in fact about the 2016 TRO and the aftermath that she encountered after that situation was publicized. Not that I think it's that difficult to just read the article and see that it's obviously referring to Johnny Depp. She's talking about what happened 2 years ago. She achieved this concession by inviting Amber Heard, playing on Amber Heard's desire to continue repeating the story, to continue putting Johnny down, getting that narrative hammered every time she can possibly repeat it. she wants to do that. And so she just wasn't able to resist the invitation. So this is a point that really should be treated as a gimme anyway. In any type of rational trial, you should not be needing to argue this element to the jury. Was this about Johnny Depp? Of course it's about Johnny Depp. But what Camille did that was very effective, I thought, was that she played off of Amber Heard's desire to continue defaming Johnny Depp and maintaining the story. It's fine that Amber Heard wants to say it's about her and it's not about Johnny, but if you're talking about the 2016 TRO and what you encountered after that instance, then we've gone a long way towards establishing the defamatory implication of this op-ed. Now, I've seen a lot of commenters and folks who just have the opinion that if Amber Heard proves any single abusive act, any aggression by Johnny, be it verbal, be it psychological, probably whether it's reactive or not, whether it's defensive or not, that means Amber wins, that she has proved that Johnny is a domestic abuser and therefore the op-ed is not false. And I got to tell you, I don't buy this argument for a second. That's not at all what it means. By highlighting the 2 years ago, she signposted exactly what she wanted us to be thinking about. And what she wanted us to be thinking about was when she went to court with a mark on her face to accuse Johnny Depp of physically abusing her and getting a restraining order against him. So there's no backing away from this check that she wrote back when she decided to take those steps. And so, no, the defamatory implication of the op-ed is that Johnny Depp physically abused her. That's why she needed a restraining order. That's what she reported at the time. Nobody would have cared if Amber Heard had accused Johnny Depp of being mean to her in their verbal arguments. So that was very well done by Camille to manipulate her into making that concession. She really did a fantastic job of showing all of the bad press that Amber was getting long before Adam Waldman came on the scene and essentially characterized what the world was seeing for themselves at that point, that this was a hoax because the audios had been released. And so we were all able to hear for ourselves what the jury has now heard, encapsulated in this psycho killer audio, that Amber Heard is the one who was abusing Johnny Depp. This is possibly the rarest situation that ever exists with domestic violence cases, which is that you actually see it happening. You actually see what is going on behind closed doors. The dynamic is played out before your eyes. And I saw for myself, this was very triggering, frankly, for a lot of people who have themselves been through that experience. They recognize crystal clear who is playing what role when they listen to those audio recordings. So, of course, that's what had the impact on Amber Heard's reputation. It wasn't Adam Waldman coming and calling her out for what we could all hear. Now, having said all this, I have critiques, certainly. I do continue to have some concerns about some of the evidence that we are aware of that didn't make it into this trial. We know that there were drafts of the tablescape photo that showed items being moved around, finally landing in this configuration with the cigarette that's displayed and the property of JD box displayed. This is taking place in August of 2014, and this is the hoax. This is showing how Amber Heard deliberately constructed these images texted them to her friend at the time and now is building an abuse narrative around these pieces of evidence that she's created for that purpose. I think it's really important to remember that while Amber Heard being a liar is certainly important, she's also got a burden of proof in this as well. And the defense to that, she's arguing that calling this a hoax is defamatory. We got to show that hoax is true. It's one thing to be wrong or to be mistaken or to just have a different perspective in a conflicted relationship. That kind of thing is normal, but deliberately fabricating a hoax is a whole separate situation. So really emphasizing that characterization is fair, I think is important. Same thing with the vanishing bruise photo. The photograph that was in the media showing Amber Heard leaving her attorney's office with Rocky Pennington and Josh Drew, just having the best time, laughing, full of joy, not a mark on her face within 24 hours of the TRO application. Now, there very well may be reasons for this. Obviously, Amber didn't take this photo. Johnny didn't take this photo. It appears to be a paparazzi photo. Maybe they weren't able to acquire it, obtain it, get it with original metadata. A lot of potential reasons why that was. So I can't necessarily fault Camille for that, other than I just wish this team had prioritized getting that photo into evidence since we know that it exists. I personally really wanted to hear the portion of the Australia audio where Amber Heard says, "All I was popping was Adderall, Xanax, ecstasy, and hallucinogens." Now, I agree. I recognize that Amber's drug use is not a particularly critical or even interesting fact in this case. But I do think Amber Heard's hypocrisy is an important issue in this case. She has consistently minimized her own drug use, and once again, just playing to what we have been able to have predicted for us about her character. She blames everybody else for the types of things that she herself does. So we've already gotten a little bit of a preview with this since we've gotten into Io Tillett Wright's deposition, where he talks about, Johnny on all of these different cocktails of substances, that Johnny mixed substances and became violent, except that he never actually saw violence other than, I think, throwing a thing once again. So this is just a really good example of, first off, it is contradictory. Amber Heard has insisted that she never used drugs around Johnny after this 2013 plane incident that she's alleged. Clearly, if she's doing ecstasy and hallucinogens in Australia, Johnny is in Australia. It just shows how she likes to reverse the reality of what actually happened onto her victim, Johnny in this case, and suggests that it was Johnny who somehow, under the influence of 8 to 10 ecstasy pills, committed all of this havoc in Australia. So I agree, drugs themselves, not necessarily particularly important. Hypocrisy, lying, minimizing, externalizing blame, those are important. That's what I think that this particular piece of audio would have shown. I would have liked to see from a technique standpoint, the storytelling part of the trial, I felt was underdeveloped. She had very good facts. Like we said, we can't complain about Elaine's weaponry, but I do think it could have been deployed in a much more powerful and effective way than she did, by using those facts to communicate a theme, to tell a story, to make a larger point, organize it in a way that gets the jury to draw conclusions from it. And so an example of this is a storyline I feel like Camille missed, is the story of Amber's revisionism. Since the UK, where Amber acknowledged she filed 7 different witness statements, had to continue revising and updating and adding to and commenting on throughout the course of the UK trial, you saw a pattern where, when confronted with contradictory evidence, she simply changes her story. She won't acknowledge that's what she's doing, but you can see her do it. So she did it in the UK with the the disco bloodbath incident. Let's just call it the disco bloodbath, because the reason I can't say what day is because she changed it. It started off in the UK that Johnny Depp hit her several times with his heavy rings, and it split her lip so hard that the blood smashed onto the Smeg fridge they hadn't purchased at the time. So she leaves that detail out when she testifies in Virginia. And then is confronted with a photograph of her with Keith Richards, whom she had met that same night, obviously completely uninjured. So she had to change her story. She had to go back in the UK and say, oh, never mind. I was confusing that with a different incident that happened earlier. And then there was this separate incident that happened around the time of Keith Richards. So the disco bloodbath incident evolved through the course of the UK trial. We've also seen it happen with her explanations for the bathroom audio. The one where Johnny is explaining, this is what happened. I was hiding in the bathroom. I accidentally scraped your toes trying to open the door, and then you kicked the door into my head and punched me in the face. And so Amber Heard has explained this as she was only breaking into the bathroom because Johnny Depp she could hear him passing out behind the bathroom door, and she was afraid he would choke on his own vomit. So she had to break into the bathroom. And then she's also given this version that we heard today, and that we heard in the 2016 deposition, that in fact, she was the one that was hiding in the bathroom. Again, this pattern of reversal, putting herself in Johnny's shoes, accusing him of the stuff that she's done. That is a story that gives a meta-level view of what she's done in testifying here in this trial. And I think that's important for the jury to think about when they're thinking about, do we feel sorry for Amber Heard? I would like the jury to be thinking that all of these horrible things that she has accused Johnny Depp of, you have to wonder if there is some grain of truth in these stories of horrific abuse, but that it was Amber who was the perpetrator and not Johnny. Telling the story of how she does that, I think was a little bit of a missed opportunity that they had. Another technique critique that I have for Camille, she was very well prepared, extremely well prepared. She knew exactly what she was going to bring. She had a game plan. She stuck to her game plan. And so I can't fault her that hard for it. But I think the next level trial advocacy is when you can adjust on the fly to what that witness is giving you in your direct and in your cross. They will provide you with material that you can turn to your advantage. And so the example of this that I saw was when Camille was asking her about the ice cream photo that she took of Johnny Depp, and asking her, weren't you scared you were going to get caught taking this photo, caught sending this photo, being mocked, mocking your abuser, the monster? And Amber said, why would I be scared? I mean, that's just something to slap her with now for the rest of this examination. Anytime she wants to get back to this narrative of, oh, I was terrified of Johnny. Oh, I didn't think I was going to survive. Remind her. But you said, why would I be scared? Why would you be scared? I mean, that was your question. You indicated you weren't scared. So along those same lines, the shifts in Amber's story, she didn't address. Again, she's revising things because she's being caught out by objective evidence. So when she came back in her direct examination after the week off, she had to correct details. And a significant one was pushing the date of the first abuse incident that she will never forget back by about a year. She is alleged since the UK that Johnny first hit her in March of 2013. She's now pushed it back to early 2012. Well, this is a really important shift for several reasons, not just because it shortens that honeymoon love bombing stage of the relationship. They both testified that their romantic relationship began in approximately November of 2011 on the Rum Diaries press tour. And then after that, Johnny invited Amber to the Bahamas, and they had that time there, had that vacation there. And then after that, she didn't hear from Johnny for a while, according to her UK testimony. So it's hard to fit in where in 2012 did you fall in love with Johnny before he started hitting you? This is a story Amber Heard is trying to sell, that she has such an emotional bond to him that she just tolerated this. She just hoped it would change. And the credibility of that experience, the depth of that bond that she would have after what is essentially a couple of dates at this point, a couple kind of few hookups maybe, that's a big difference. And another fact that she brought in during her direct exam that could have called this even further into question is she tried to claim the police had been called multiple times. Of course, she doesn't provide any police reports for any of this, but it's her assertion. So let's go ahead and use it against her, because she says the very first time the police were called on Johnny was in December of 2011. So now we're even further than Johnny hitting her in 2013. They're probably still on the press tour in December of 2011, or certainly not very far off it. That story really falls apart in my perspective. So just an example of a couple things that came out on direct. This is a little bit more of an advanced technique. If you haven't done it a lot of times, it is very risky to go off script in a trial. So I'm definitely not recommending that you make your improv debut on nationally televised trial that millions of people are watching live. But that said, I think Camille absolutely has this type of thing in her. She just needs to do it more. She needs to get her confidence. This has been fantastic experience for her. And I have no doubt that her star is absolutely on the rise. She's going to be a litigator in demand in Los Angeles. So it turns out I had quite a lot to say about that cross-examination, and I haven't even touched on the redirect. I'll just make it brief. I mean, dominant, relentless, had Elaine on the ropes, kept her on the ropes. And I think it was extremely telling that the conclusion of Elaine's redirect was a hearsay objection being sustained by Camille. Elaine showed very little preparation for the redirect. I was very surprised once again at the things that she elicits versus the things that she leaves on the table. I'm really surprised that she didn't revisit those donations. How do you not rehabilitate Amber on that? I just don't know. But instead, she chose to revisit Officer Sines and the witnesses who saw her unbruised, and Amber's explanation that they were all mistaken. These aren't good facts for your client. And so at a certain point, I think if you don't recognize that, maybe that is why Elaine just sat down when she did, because she was demonstrating very little skill in crafting a question that could get past this barrage, this carpet bombing of objections that Camille was giving her. But also, she didn't have anything to bring fist-wise, fact-wise, that was going to be admissible. She was just trying to get hearsay in. Just doesn't seem like the type of thing that an experienced lawyer would do as a mistake. But that's what happened. That's what we saw. It was an astonishingly short redirect. And we basically ended with Elaine taking a knee, not getting up back out of the corner. And then, the chef's kiss with that leaving the courtroom, that show of disrespect to the jury. So thank you again for joining me. Thank you again to Nick and Alita. Thank you to their chats, all of your support. It means a lot to me. I'm glad that you enjoy my commentary. Legal journalism, in my opinion, is an important part of our public discourse. Our court processes are the justice that we, the communities, have the power to deliver. And so I think it's really important to shine a light on those processes of justice. I've long been dissatisfied with the state of legal journalism, the inability to find good and knowledgeable information. So I'm so pleased to have discovered this LawTube community, to have been welcomed into it. And I hope that you enjoy these perspectives as well. See you next time.